I used to travel a lot for work. I stayed in so many cheap hotels that I stopped paying attention to them. All I needed was a bed, a shower, and a door that locked. One winter, I had a training event in a small town. The company booked me into an old hotel on the edge of the city. From the outside, it looked normal. Inside, it felt tired. The lobby carpet was worn and the air smelt like old cleaner. The woman at the front desk checked me in without much interest. She slid a key toward me and told me my room was on the 3rd floor. The elevator moved slowly. When I stepped into the hallway, it was silent. No televisions, no voices, just a long corridor and dim lights. My room was small but fine. A bed, a desk, a bathroom. Nothing special. I dropped my bag, turned on the television for background noise, and tried to relax after the long drive. Later, I took a shower and finally turned the lights off to sleep. Sometime after midnight, I woke up. There was a sound near the floor, a soft slide against the carpet. I froze and listened. I heard it again. This time it was right at the door. My chest tightened. Something felt wrong. I reached over and turned on the lamp with a shaky hand. Something white was sticking out from under the door, a folded piece of paper. I got up slowly. My legs felt weak. I picked up the paper. The handwriting inside was messy and uneven. It said, "Someone in the hotel was watching me. Watching me." My heart began to pound. I listened for footsteps in the hallway. Nothing. The silence felt too heavy. I could hear my own breathing. I locked the chain and sat on the bed with my back to the wall. The lamp stayed on. I kept staring at the door. I told myself it was a stupid joke. Then I heard the sliding sound again. Slow, careful. I felt a cold wave move through my chest. Another note appeared under the door. I forced myself to pick it up. This one said the writer had been inside my room earlier that day. It said they liked watching people sleep in this place. The handwriting trembled across the page. I checked the whole room, even though I knew I would find nothing. The closet was empty. The bathroom was clear, but the feeling stayed. I sat on the edge of the bed again. My eyes stayed fixed on the bottom of the door. I told myself that if a third note came, I would leave immediately. A long stretch of silence followed. I almost relaxed. Then, the sound came again, slower than before, like the person wanted me to hear it. A third piece of paper slid inside. My hands shook as I opened it. The message said the person was already back inside the room with me. I turned in a full circle. Corners, shadows, curtains. Nothing moved, but my entire body felt tight with fear. That was enough. I grabbed my things without folding anything. My hands were trembling. My throat felt dry. I went to the door and looked through the peephole. The hallway was empty. I unhooked the chain. My fingers slipped from how sweaty they were. I opened the door and stepped out quickly. I closed it behind me and walked toward the elevator. My steps were too fast and too quiet at the same time. When I reached the far end of the corridor, I looked back once. I thought I saw something move near the last room. I did not look again. At the front desk, a different employee was working. He looked half asleep until I told him about the notes. His expression changed immediately. He checked his system and said no one else had reported anything. I asked if someone could check my room. He took a master key and walked upstairs with me. Inside the room, everything looked normal. Then, he noticed the window. The lock had been forced. Fresh scratch marks covered the metal. He said maybe someone climbed in earlier. I did not wait to hear more. I picked up my bag and walked out. I checked out and drove to another hotel 20 minutes away. My hands would not stop shaking on the steering wheel. The next day, I called to ask if they found anything. They said the cameras showed nothing. They said no one else complained. But I did not forget. I still remember standing in that room with 3 notes in my hand. Someone knew I was there before I ever unlocked the door.
I was driving through the Midwest when the storm hit harder than expected. I pulled into the first hotel I could find, a lonely, aging building sitting under buzzing lights. The lobby felt off, too still. The receptionist barely looked at me while checking me in. His voice was flat, like he didn't want me there. I told myself I was just tired. I just wanted sleep. I went to my room, dropped my bag, and lay down. But at 2:15 a.m., something woke me. A soft rustling inside my room. My eyes opened slowly. I didn't move. I listened. The rustling stopped. As my vision adjusted, I saw it. A tall shape near my bag in the dark, completely still. My throat felt tight. I forced myself to speak. "Who is that?" A deep man's voice answered. "It's housekeeping. Sorry. I'll leave now." My whole body shook. I jumped out of bed, slammed the chain locked, and grabbed my bag. Everything inside had been touched. Someone had been searching through my things while I slept. I rushed to the front desk. The employee looked startled, pale. His voice trembled slightly when he said no staff member matched the description. I insisted he call the police. He hesitated, then agreed. When the officers arrived, they demanded the security footage. And there he was, a large man pacing the hallway, walking past my door, returning again and again and again. Then the worst part, he used a key. He let himself into my room. Fear surged through me so hard my hands went numb. The employee kept saying the man didn't work there. I took a refund and left immediately. My hands were shaking as I drove away. Every shadow on the road felt alive. Every passing car made my shoulders jump. By the time exhaustion hit, I pulled into a rest stop and locked myself in my car. I slept sitting upright, chest tight, every sound making me flinch. Metal creaks, wind against the glass, each one sent a jolt through me. My job keeps me on the road most weeks of the year. After a while, you stop noticing one hotel from another. They all blend together. same lobbies, same carpets, same breakfast rooms. But there are places you cannot forget. One evening, I checked into an older hotel that I had never seen before. From the outside, it looked like a normal budget place. Inside, it felt wrong in a way I could not explain. The lobby was quiet, too quiet. The receptionist watched me for just a little too long before handing over the key. My room was on an upper floor. The hallway was empty when I walked down it. I did not hear another guest. I had the strange feeling that if I turned around fast enough, I would catch someone watching me. Of course, there was no one. Inside the room, everything looked ordinary. Bed, chair, desk, a coat hanger near the wall. I was more tired than hungry, so I went to bed early. I expected noise from other rooms or from the street. Instead, I woke up again and again because it was too quiet. The silence felt heavy, like the building itself was listening. My breathing stayed shallow without me realizing it. Around 3 a.m, I opened my eyes and thought someone was standing at the foot of my bed, a tall figure in the dark. My body tensed and my chest tightened as I stared at it, afraid to move or even blink. After a few seconds, I realized it wasn't a person at all. It was the coat I had left on the chair near the wall. The shape and the shadows had tricked me. I let out a shaky breath and tried to calm down, telling myself I was just on edge from too much travel. I lay back down and tried to sleep. Not long after, there was a knock on my door. Soft, slow, not like someone impatient, more like someone testing. My heartbeat picked up and my throat felt dry while I listened. Then there was a second knock. I got up and looked through the peephole, holding my breath without meaning to. The hallway was empty, no footsteps, no elevator sound. I hesitated, then opened the door just enough to look out. There was no one there, only a folded piece of paper on the floor. I brought it inside and unfolded it. The message said that we had met before, and it mentioned a room number, 214. A cold wave of confusion and fear moved through me as I stared at the writing. I had never stayed in that hotel in my life. My room was not that number. I went down to the front desk and showed it to the receptionist. She looked at it for a long moment, then at me. Her eyes flicked up with something like discomfort. She said there was no room with that number in the building anymore. She said it had been closed off years ago after a renovation and turned into part of a storage area. I asked who had written the note. She said she did not know. She checked his system and said that no one had reported anything strange on my floor. The whole time she talked, I had the feeling she was not telling me everything. I went back to my room, but I did not sleep after that. Every noise felt sharper. The hum of the vent, a pipe ticking, my own shifting on the bed. Every shadow felt too long. When the first light of morning came through the window, I packed my things and left the key on the desk. I did not bother to check out at the front desk. I just wanted to be outside. As I drove away, I glanced back at the building. In one of the top-floor windows, a dark shape stood behind the glass. It did not move. It looked like someone standing there watching the parking lot. I told myself it was just another guest,